We good?
Yeah, start it up, Mike. Let's get it started, Mike.
All right, y'all. We're back with episode 2 of the Load Management Podcast. I'm back here with Ben and Aidan. We
What's
got some
good,
more
boys?
topics to discuss.
How's it going?
What's good?
Okay, so first topic on the day, diving right into the hot topic of the past couple of weeks, is news on the potential NBA starting dates and just what this offseason's looking like in terms of scheduling. We have the NBA draft coming up on November 18th. Free agency is set to start maybe a week or two after that. And there's been lots of ideas thrown around, to say the least, on when this next season is going to start. Immediately after this last season ended and the Lakers won the title, there seemed to be a consensus that it would be March or somewhere later into the spring season of 2021 that we would be seeing the first NBA games back on live TV. Then that date slowly moved up to around the MLK Day in January, and it's now being said that reports at least are saying that their owners and the front offices around the league are pushing for a Christmas or December 22nd start date. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Well, I've heard that the league itself is really trying to push for the around Christmas date because I heard I mean I'm not 100% sure of the accuracy of this, but I heard that if the difference between starting between like Christmas and Martin Luther King Day is somewhere around like $500 million lost in revenue or something like that. So they're they're in a really terrible spot for this season. Like it's kind of a really tough spot because you knew last season the bubble and stuff was gonna affect this season, and I feel like they gotta make sure that they preserve their next season as well. So they're gonna need to have things back to normal by not like this coming season is going to be a little wacky, but then the next season they need things to be normal set up. So I think they're going to really try and push for this Christmas date. I've heard a lot of players being not for it, but I honestly think that there's a decent chance it starts then.
Yeah, I know LeBron himself has not said it, but Danny Green, I think Jared Dudley have come out and said that a lot of the top guys around the league have claimed that they will sit out for a month or two if the games do in fact come back as early as Christmas, which even though the NBA will be getting some revenue for those games, I'd imagine that they will not be getting as much as they would hope for if a lot of the top players in the league decide to sit out like they have said that they might do.
I mean, I don't know what it would do financially for the league, so I can't speak on that. But I will say, all power to the players at this point. I mean, unforeseen circumstances, but like you got to think about it. Like some of these guys, like Danny Green, like played just in October, and now they're already getting ready to go. I don't know. Well, I mean, what do you guys think? Like, what is the normal time? Because it usually ends like, let's say the finals in first week of June, and then they start up last week of October. So you got July, August, September, October. So that's about like 4 months of rest time. Now they get
like half of that.
Middle of like middle of October. So then November, December. It's like no time.
Some guys have a lot more. Some guys.
I mean, some guys haven't played since last March.
How close is Bradley Beal gonna be?
Like, yeah, Bradley Beal will be ready for Christmas.
Yeah,
but like also depending on where they start, if they start later, that could also impact the salary cap. So that's also something that players have to think about and keep in mind, and the league has to keep in mind that if they lose out on all this money, that is going to impact the salary cap going forward.
I mean, yeah, I don't know the financial shit, but like, I'm just thinking like in a player's perspective, as far as like your body and your health, like shit, LeBron literally will be on load management for 2 months then.
Like one interesting point I wanted to ask you guys about with this. So obviously with the NBA coming back so soon, if they do start in Christmas, teams obviously when teams make roster moves and there's trades and free agent signings, it does take some time for the chemistry to come to life for that team. I think we all saw that with the Clippers this past season, and it made me think that if there is such a short gap between last season and this season, will that maybe tempt teams to stick with their current rosters? Will we maybe see some guys who might have looked to joining a new team maybe just stay with their team for another year? I was just interested, and even for the teams that do make moves, there might just not be enough time for them to gel enough before the season starts, which could, hamper their record and be a long-term issue for them. I was just wondering your guys' thoughts on that.
I think that the teams that are like seriously contending, I think maybe they're not gonna like maybe they'd try and keep the similar. I mean, obviously their cores they're gonna try and keep anyway if they're contenders, but I think they'd probably try and limit their movement. But if you're a team that's not winning a championship and you can get a guy for multiple years or something, then I don't think they'll really look into that too much. And because I mean, yeah, it takes a little bit to gel with the team and like find out how you fit, for the coaches to figure you out too. But at the same time, that's something that can happen throughout the season. Like, it doesn't have to be all systems go right away. And if you're a team that isn't going to be competing for like seeding or something, then I don't think that'll be a big deal for those guys. But maybe that's something that the more elite teams might bring into the situation and think about.
Yeah, when I thought of this question, I was thinking specifically the Suns, mostly because obviously they went 8-0 in the bubble, and they might be thinking win now, so they might make a drastic change to their team in order to propel them to a potential championship roster. And I was just thinking that, let's say they make a trade for Zach Lowe came up with this idea that they make a big offer for Chris Paul, and I was thinking that'd be a great idea, but then I also thought that it might not work out right away with Chris Paul having to mesh with an entirely new organization. His like fourth one in 5 years, so it might be some complications for that.
Do you think this season is going to be very much like a lockout, shortened season, like how we saw like 2011, 2012, I think it was?
Well, I mean, the plans right now are for it to be a 72-game year. So obviously not the same circumstances as a lockout, but I think they are going down the path of a shortened season.
I don't know. I don't think then it will impact it too much. I mean, 72 compared to 82, you're only missing 10 games. So. And plus, maybe these guys are going to be working on scrimmages and just getting team bonding more with the amount of time beforehand, like training camp. You still got time and stuff.
I think if you're a team like the Suns, who, yeah, they went 8-0 in the bubble, but do we really know how? Like, I still think the jury is out a little bit on how good they are, because we haven't seen them put a prolonged stretch of like awesome success together yet. So I would have no problem with them going and trying to like make a big move. Especially if it's for somebody who's a veteran, has been around the block and like knows what it's like to be going to another team and understands it, like Chris Paul.
Put more respect on my guy Chris Paul. I think that the bubble showed how legit he is, even to this age. I don't think that would be a bad move on them. But then again, what would they be giving up to?
It'd probably be like Rubio, Oubre, picks, maybe another expiring contract.
And the Thunder might be looking to depart from him because and just give Shea the reins and
No. I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, it would make sense. But I think Chris Paul's got plenty of respect. I don't think we got to throw any more on his name.
I don't know. I just remember
he's got an MVP.
Nah, before the NBA season, people were like, OKC, da 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 da.
Oh, yeah, but
that's because he was the fall guy in Houston. That's why. He was after that horrendous Houston collapse, he was the one that got all the blame for it. So I think that was a big
deal. Well, I mean, because he was looking like he might have been declining in that Houston series a little bit, but then he showed out this year. So, all right, we want to move on.
Yeah, so there are other NBA news. There is some City Edition jersey drops for some teams recently. Some of them were leaks, some of them were fully announced, and we had the Nets come out with what I just feel like the Nets have come out with so many jerseys over the past couple of years. Like, they had a whole entire rebrand, was it last year, with their court and the new jerseys and the great color scheme. And they also dropped like the Bed-Stuy unis and something else. And this off season, we've already seen them drop 2 jerseys now with those blue and red kind of those jerseys that everyone seemed to like off the drop. Then they released these new ones for the City Edition, and they got a lot of hate. And to be honest, I kind of mess with them a little bit. My only complaint, my
Nah.
only complaint is the yellow and blue like markings around the Nets like text. If you just get rid of that, I think they're fine unis because I like the font and I like the Crayola colors on the side, but
Yeah,
I just don't know why they mess with the Nets writing.
No, I think these are dust as heck, dude. Like these are dust as heck. Gross. Get these out of here. Like these should be burnt in a fire, never worn again. Like this looks like a second grader just got a Crayola marker and just drew it all up. Like I don't know what they were thinking about this. This shit is dust.
I agree. I think the font looks, I mean, it looks like they went with like a little kid on a chalkboard for the font. But yeah, I'm not a fan of these jerseys at all. I think these are one of the lesser City jerseys that's come out.
Probably the worst City jersey I've seen.
Y'all are doubting the drip.
No, I will 100% doubt the drip.
The Nets will drip these out and make them work. I'm telling you.
All right. Let's.
Yeah,
okay,
sure. Maybe KD will look cool in them, but like, I don't know.
KD and Kyrie are gonna be looking fire in these. I'm telling you, just get rid of that yellow and blue line.
I just know I would never rep a jersey like that. I just know that.
I don't know if I'd cop one myself, to be fair. That is a good point, but I don't think they're okay. They're not like Dallas Mavericks, whatever their jerseys were last year.
Those were way worse.
They're definitely not that bad.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold up. I'm doing some research right now, and it does say that it's honoring an artist.
It's honoring an artist.
Yeah, all the Nets stuff honor people. All the Nets jerseys have been.
I mean, I don't know much about this artist, so like, good for the Nets for honoring him and all that. But I mean, the artist didn't design the jerseys, so it's. I think the jerseys are pretty ugly.
I think they're fine. But anyway, the Blazers also dropped some new unis. They're going with a much different style than what we're used to, as they drop the new City jerseys, and they have the Oregon, text on the front. We were having some disputes, me and Aidan were, before the recording today. Do you think they're brown or they're black, Ben, in your opinion?
Oh, I definitely thought they were brown.
Yeah, okay. I thought they were brown.
My bad. I just turned up my brightness.
I'm gonna have to see them on the court, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not really vibing with the brown, but I do like the coloring on the side. I think it could work.
I definitely like them better than the Nets ones. I think that they're definitely creative, a little, and definitely unique. I think on the court, if they're gonna do something like I know the Jazz do and like the Grizzlies do, where they make the court match the jerseys when they wear them, then I think that they could potentially, like on a broadcast, look really cool. Definitely not something I cop and rock out on the street, but like definitely I think could be a cool jersey in game. So
okay, so
improve these jerseys.
So, dude, I thought these were black because my brightness was so low when I saw these. And so I thought they were tough. Now that I got my brightness on, I think they're still tough, but it's like brown. Like, come on, you could have done black or something, or white. But I do love the Oregon font. Like, that shit is fire. And I think like the little side stuff, I fuck with it. It definitely gives me like a Kevin Love type of vibe. I don't know. I feel like he would go driven.
It's like a Patagonia little vibe.
Yeah, it's definitely like a Pacific Northwest. No, I fuck with what they did though.
Hey, yeah, free Kevin Love on the side though, for real. Cavaliers
I think he's a great player, but I mean, who's gonna take him? Who's gonna take
Portland? Even though they have really nothing to trade for him, but Portland.
Give them.
I haven't looked into this enough.
Yeah, like Kevin Love,
Zach Collins,
not his time, man.
Other pieces, Kevin Love to Portland.
I support Kevin Love, especially with all the talk.
Are these the only jerseys that we have you guys seen the Mavs ones that got leaked?
I saw them for a brief instant, but to be honest, I have not looked into them too much. I'll pull them up right now.
Pull them up.
They're definitely, in my opinion, I mean, I only looked at them for a second as well. They were like white, black, and gold, and I thought they're definitely the coolest ones out of the
All I know is before I got cut off, I wanted to say a side note about Kevin Love. Respect so much what he's been doing, especially with mental health, him and DeMar DeRozan. And I want to say, great player, and he got a ring out of his career at least. Memorable moment, one of the most memorable moments in NBA history.
I'll love the Kevin Love. I'm a big follower of his on IG. Yeah, actually, I mess with it. Dallas needs some good unis. They've had some pretty terrible unis over the years. I know. I don't know if you guys remember them, but way back in like the early Dirk days when they rocked those like silver,
Oh, the trash bag?
silver, yeah, the trash bags. Those were hideous. Those jerseys they dropped last year were hideous. They've had some pretty terrible jerseys over there.
I personally just think like the whole Mavericks brand.
What are they? What are they? The green ones?
No, not those. Those are from last year. They're white with.
This is 2021 Swingman Jersey Classic Edition.
Green.
The new Dallas ones are.
The old Dallas ones that are green and blue, I think, are maybe the worst jersey.
Those are the city ones. I'm not talking about the Space Jam joints.
You're talking about like the older green.
Yeah. It looks
right?
like
those aren't bad. I know what you're talking about.
I think I see what you're talking about too.
I don't know.
Those aren't terrible, but like they could do better. That's like been their only, other than like their just basic home and aways.
Gold ones? Is that what you're talking about, Ben?
Yeah, they're white with black and gold like trimming.
I think Luka's gonna be looking fire in these.
All right, you big Luka I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to see what the Mavericks are gonna do. I don't know how they're gonna look compared to the rest of the West. I think they got a squad, but I mean, everybody else in the West has a squad, so.
I think that they're one of those teams that should not be afraid to go make a bunch of moves and bring in new guys.
They haven't, man. Every time they're in free agency, they're a contender for a big superstar, and nobody ever signs with them.
Yeah, well, they already made everybody but KP and Luka available.
I'll be interested to see what they do because I think they're gonna make plans for Giannis next year, obviously. So this offseason, I doubt they're gonna make any big moves unless they think it's like a Giannis size move in their opinion. I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of like 1-year deals type stuff. But yeah, I mean Luka's there anyway, so they're gonna be a top 4 seed in the West automatically. Book it, MVP, Luka.
Top 4 auto. Is that like for real or
no? Shut up.
It's somewhat for real. I mean, Luka's obviously they're not gonna finish. They're not finishing any worse than what they did last year, so they're definitely getting past the 7th seed.
That's fine. Okay.
Top 4? We got Golden State coming back. We got the Lakers.
Golden State's gonna need some time to recover. Dude, they missed out on. They haven't played in over a year.
It's Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. You don't think they've been training this whole time? Come on, they could have been good to go during this. They probably rested themselves because they didn't.
That should come out fine.
I understand they're gonna be fine by the end of the year, but they're gonna get off to a slow start. I could see them finishing as a 5 seed.
Okay, even if they finish as a 5 seed,
even if they're
the Lakers, you got the Clippers.
Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets,
you got the Jazz,
Dallas,
Utah.
They're gonna finish out of Utah. Utah's a bunch of chumps.
I think is on the down.
I mean, you got Spider Mitch, man. All right, sleep on Spider Mitch then.
I'm just saying it's gonna be Dallas at the 4 seed.
I also think that we can't just like Golden State. I don't think it's like this gimme that they're like a top 4 team in the West or something, like all healthy and on all goes. I don't know if that's really.
No, they're definitely gonna be a top team once they're healthy and back in chemistry. Not the start.
Top team, but I don't think it like. I don't know. I'm not ready to just throw them right immediately there.
I can tell you right now what's going to happen this season. Warriors are going to come back slow because they haven't played NBA basketball in over a year.
Oh, this is exactly what's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly what's going to happen.
Right,
and then NBA media is going to be hounding them, and they're going to write them off. And then around the All-Star break, or it's not going to be an All-Star break, but midpoint of the season this year, Warriors are finally going to be like, all right, this is how we play basketball. This is what we did to win. They're going to get back to that style. And then they're going to dominate teams again.
So the Warriors are going to become. You think the Warriors are going to become a nobody believes in us team?
I think it's possible.
I don't, but all right.
Because they're all getting older. I'm telling you, they're gonna get off to a rough start because they haven't played NBA basketball in a
Okay.
while.
All right. Well, this is where we shift. I don't know what to say to that.
Okay, well,
Have two
we can
Hall
move on to the
of
next
players,
spot.
probably the most 3-point shooters in NBA history, other than Ray Allen. Like I don't know what you're saying. You're speaking Japanese.
They haven't played NBA basketball in over a year. It takes time. Even if they are 3-time
No, I'm not
champions,
saying
right?
it's
They're 3-time
unrealistic. But
champions.
I'm not
It
saying
takes time.
I'm not saying that they're going to start off slow. I'm saying you're acting like people are going to be like, "Oh, the Warriors." No, that's not what's going to happen.
Have you not been on Twitter
Yes,
during the NBA season?
I'm talking about
Dude,
like
if the Warriors lose
people,
2 games in a
logical
row,
people are going to be saying, like Warriors are just starting off slow. Just wait, be patient. Okay, back like I said,
that's
the
not.
Lakers,
Yeah,
the Clippers, the Jazz, the Nuggets. I don't see the Mavs beating any of those top 4.
I definitely see them being better than I think they should be better than the Jazz.
Really?
Yeah, I think that could easily happen.
Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell.
I think even in this past season, if the Jazz had matched up with the Mavericks in the first round, I think there might have been a legitimate chance that the
Also,
Mavs beat them.
Don't sleep on Houston, man.
I am a big Houston fan for this next season.
James Harden's still James Harden. You know how James Harden cooks in the regular season. He's a regular season guy. Which leads me into speaking. What about Daryl Morey? Going to Philadelphia.
Teaming up with Doc.
What?
Teaming up with Doc.
Yeah, well, what do we think of that move? What does this mean for Philadelphia? I mean, they don't have the personnel to run the Daryl Morey offense. I mean, JoJo, what's this going to mean for him? What's this going to mean for Ben Simmons? Is he going to blow it all up?
I bet you that Doc is going to want a chance. He's definitely, I think, going to want a chance to work with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. But at the same time, I think Morey might still like just try and see what's out there for those kind of players. But I think ultimately it's going to be a similar team to last year in terms of not a similar team to last year in terms of success. I think they'll be better, but a similar team in last year in terms of I think Ben Simmons is still going to be there, Joel Embiid, and they're going to run that back again. But I think we've seen that. I like this. I like the Sixers getting Daryl because I think we've seen that when a move needs to be made, even if it sometimes maybe it doesn't work out perfectly, Daryl's not afraid to make a move. And even if it goes against even if he knows he'll get a lot of backlash for it at first, like he's okay to go make a big move. He's not scared to do it. And I think to pair him with Doc was a pretty smart move by the Sixers to get 2 veterans at coach and general manager that have had success.
I can tell you one thing. They will never, save the receipts. I really don't care. If they prove me wrong, good for them. But I never see the 76ers going far with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I just don't, especially with the East being more competitive. So, yes, I think it was a great move for the future, but I think they need to ship those 2 guys off, kind of blow up their roster.
Both of them?
Well, at least one of them. At least.
I would agree. I'd try and get rid of Joel Embiid.
I was about to say, I'd rather get rid of Joel Embiid. I think Ben Simmons could be a good complement to another superstar type player. I don't think Ben Simmons can be the superstar on your team unless you got literally shooters all around him.
They definitely would need, I think, like a wing. I think he could be the best player on the team, but not.
You need a good scorer to match him with.
Yeah.
You need a guy because Ben Simmons, if you want to win a game in the crunch time of playoffs, Ben Simmons is not going to be on takeover mode in the fourth quarter, getting you buckets like the way we saw Jimmy Butler do, the way we saw LeBron do, the way we saw Anthony Davis do late into the postseason. Even Jason Tatum when he needed to.
Yeah, when
Jaylen Brown, you need those types of closers, and that's not what Ben Simmons is. He is a guy that's just a playmaker, and he's a facilitator.
When buckets get hard in the playoffs, Ben Simmons is definitely not one of the names and guys you would want to put the ball in his hands. But I think if you build a team around him the right way and you get him another scorer, where maybe that other scorer could be that guy that I think that it could become a very good team. But I definitely think it's just somebody's got to pull the trigger on this Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid thing, because it's like they just their play styles. It's just butting heads the whole time. It's like because Ben Simmons can't shoot threes, so they try and get him around the basket a little bit more, and then it pushes Joel out when Joel should be posting up and being on the block. So yeah, I agree. I think, but overall with the move with Daryl Morey, what do you think about that, Aidan?
I think it was a good move in the sense. I mean, he's accomplished. I mean, I don't know if there were other names in the market that they really could have got. I don't have a lot of complaints about it, but I mean, I'm a big JoJo guy, but I don't think Philadelphia's the right fit for him. He's a player where if you can get the most out of him and work with him and mold him, he's a great player and could be a superstar in the league. But with the Daryl Morey selection, I think it's going to be an interesting team up with Doc Rivers and him. Curious to see what they do. But I think it was a fine hire. I mean, who else could they have gotten? It's not like the Rockets were bad. I mean, they were a couple shots away from being in an NBA Finals. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah, and you could argue. I mean, there were 0 for 19 or 22.
Yeah. It was
27 straight threes.
We know the famous.
Yeah, that.
We know
the
famous. 0 for 26 from 3. That's how I be those shooting the shots. You know.
I just want to say on this topic, I like the Morey signing. I think I saw a great tweet about this topic a few days ago where Morey's not going to necessarily blow things up to run small ball in Philly. The reason he ran small ball was to maximize James Harden's talents as a scorer. So I think Morey's going to try to come up with a solution at least for how to maximize Simmons and Embiid. I think they're going to give him and Rivers 1 year to figure it out with Simmons and Embiid. And if things still aren't trending in the right direction, I just on the spot came up with another brilliant hot take trade idea that I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on. Let's say this season doesn't work out for the Sixers. They decide to send Embiid to the Spurs for DeMar DeRozan and a point guard.
Dejounte Murray or whatever.
Yeah, is that what you're thinking?
I don't know if they'd give him DeJounte Murray, but if they could get even a Bryn Forbes.
No, ew.
Can I just ask? Do we know how many years does Joel have on his contract?
Also, I don't think this season. I think I would be trying to ship JoJo ASAP. Or maybe halfway through the season because it's just not going to work. And you want to get the value all you can.
Embiid still has 3 years left on his contract, for reference.
Okay. I think I definitely don't. I would not like that trade at all.
I think it would be ass, dude.
They can get way more, I think, than that,
dude. It's
JoJo. Well, I mean, okay, they get picks with it too, obviously.
Yeah, they would need to get a couple picks, but I mean, I would love it for the Spurs. I think that would be a great move. But
wait, for the Spurs, you'd like it for the Spurs, but not for the Sixers.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think the Sixers could get way more. I think
there's way better talent out there. What do you mean?
I think Joel Embiid is a guy who's a star and you can build a team around. He's just in a terrible fit. Although
exactly what I said, right? Wouldn't you agree, man? He's exactly what I said. He's in a bad fit. If you get him the right coaching and support staff, you can get the most out of him where he has stamina, he's motivated, and when he's on.
Yeah, that's the Spurs.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I like it for Joel. I like it but the Sixers, I don't see why they would do that.
Because you get Ben Simmons running the offense now. He can do whatever he wants.
DeMar DeRozan in the clutch?
From the floor. Yes, dude, DeMar DeRozan just had KOC can support this. If you watch, I was just watching a KOC video. The stats support it. DeMar DeRozan was one of the top isolation scorers in the NBA this past season.
Okay,
no, he can hit those. He can hit the clutch shots.
The regular season.
He can hit the clutch shots.
Okay, but that was in the
he
regular.
Brought the Raptors to many conference championships.
Yeah. Okay. Aidan,
and they lost to LeBron James.
He can be a clutch player, but I still don't.
I'm not saying he can, but he's not going to win you an NBA championship.
Oh no, he's not.
That's the goal. That's the goal. You shouldn't just try to be in the conference finals. That shouldn't be your goal.
Yeah, you have Simmons to be the lead guy. Then you have DeRozan to be the late game scorer. You pair them with Horford. You have Tobias on the team. You
The
get them a
bias is
point
good.
guard from the Spurs who can also take some ball handling away from Simmons. You get them a shooter or two in the offseason. They still have Matisse Thybulle. I think that's a good roster.
I don't know.
Morey can
You
make it
get
work
more
from
though
there.
than just DeRozan.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I would be looking to get a higher caliber player that maybe is younger. And how old is DeRozan? He's
DeRozan just turned 31, I want to say.
okay.
By the way, I'm not trying to give DeRozan slander. I think he's a phenomenal player, but I'm just saying, like, if you're the Sixers and you want to win a championship, I don't know if he's your guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
DeRozan's
think
31.
you definitely need more shooting on the roster if you're the Sixers. And I think Joel Embiid, I think you can just get a higher caliber player, or maybe like a DeRozan type with a higher caliber player than like a higher caliber point guard or something like that. You
I
know?
can understand that, like a big trade idea and rumor was the Embiid for Bradley Beal, and I think that'd be a better fit, obviously. But I just don't see any way that happens. Like I know you guys think that Embiid can get more, but I just don't see an NBA team giving up a whole lot for Joel Embiid, who has been one of the best centers in the league. But I mean, I don't think you're gonna get a crazy sum for him because of how the Sixers have been so bad over these past couple of years.
Yeah, Joel Embiid definitely hasn't displayed himself as like a winner, but I still, if I was the Sixers, I would hold tight and I would not pull the trigger on that trade.
I don't know. I
Unless,
will say, well, something I did forget about. They almost beat the Raptors, who won the NBA Finals. Like, they were a couple bounces away from that shot to advancing. You know.
well, it would have been overtime, but
Well, I mean, yeah, but they could have advanced if they,
Yeah, they
did
could.
overtime.
if they won the overtime, yeah.
That's what I'm
But
I
saying.
mean, that wasn't
It's still
even.
an
They still had to
opportunity.
get through the Bucks after that, which
Yeah,
I don't think they would have done.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe they do though. The Bucks, dude. Come on.
The
That
Sixers.
was Giannis before people had all the Giannis stops, and he ran into the heat of this
The
year.
Giannis stopper.
Well, I mean, there isn't really a Giannis stopper. It was just more like the Heat kryptonite. All
All
right.
right.
Anyway, last piece of NBA news. We got the Rockets signed Steven Silas to be their new head coach. I went on Twitter to say that I co-signed the signing. Um, for those that don't know, Steven Silas, first-time head coach, great X's and O's offensively. I think he's going to be great for the Rockets, getting Harden and Westbrook back into their offensive grooves. Rockets, small ball failed. They're going to be heading back towards the mean NBA roster construction, which I think will also help them. And like Aidan mentioned earlier in the show, and I also kind of spoke on for a sentence, I think Rockets are going to be primed for a big comeback season this year.
I think that I would really like. Actually, would I like to see the Rockets come back? I'm not a fan of I mean, it's not fun to watch the team play, I think, but I do like Harden. I think it's just when I watch the Rockets, I'm watching because I want to watch Harden dissect teams and just be in awe of him. But I mean, I don't know much about this coach, so I'm not gonna speak too much about it, but I think it was smart to just shake things up and go a different direction with the coach. But you did say they're not straying too far away from that small ball idea, right?
Yeah, they're gonna sign or at least try to bring on some guys taller than 6'8" who can provide some rebounding and rim protection in the offseason. I know Nerlens Noel has been rumored to be linked to the Rockets. I think guys like that, just some backup bigs who could provide some minutes, so that's not PJ Tucker, Jeff Green, and Robert Covington for 48 minutes at the five. It's gonna be guys like that who can actually provide some length and height for them.
Yeah, I think that's definitely needed. I still don't know if I love that because I mean in the regular season I think they'd be fine operating like that, but when you get in the playoffs and if you have to face a team like the Lakers again where it's like they can just get so big, I don't know. I think that could be a little bit of a problem, but and even the fact that they're still they can run that a small ball lineup with like AD at the five, and they're still big because they have AD at the five. So I think that system might run into some problems
I mean, it can't be any worse than what they had this past season, in my opinion.
No, they could definitely. It's a smart move to bring in a guy like Nerlens Noel, I think.
I mean, I don't particularly want the Rockets to be good because that would take down the Lakers, who have, they just won the championship and were the greatest franchise in NBA history. But, I don't want another team to compete against them like that and propose worrisome threats. I mean, but James Harden is James Harden. He does his deal. He's always frightening when he has the ball. I don't think anybody would agree. I think he is probably the most frightening one-on-one player. Like when he's got the ball in his hands, I'm scared he's just going to do a couple step backs or he's just going to drive, get bodied, get some fouls. But I think it was a great move. I co-sign it. I stand the signing. I think it was the right decision to move on from the small ball thing. Let's not disrespect Russ. I still think he's a quality point guard. I just think the bubble was like the bubble was different for everybody. You got to remember like the stuff that they had to go through. So
I have another hypothetical kind of fun question to think about. A lot of them have been coming to me lately. So in the bubble, we saw Lou Dort be a sensation and being able to guard James Harden.
That guy was fine. Like I thought
exactly.
He would legitimately be the
he's a smaller, stockier guard. He's still quick enough to body James Harden and can get a hand up on the step backs. Now, I had a theory that this new generation of basketball players who are going to be drafted into the leagues over the next couple of years, I think since the step back has become a big, move for the younger generations coming up, James Harden revolutionized it, and a lot of these guys, the younger guys, are taking it and running with it. So I think that also means that the defenders coming into the league are going to know how to guard it better and better than today's NBA players. So I think we might see a decline in James Harden's ability to get that step back off over the years down the line. Also, just the fact that James Harden is going to get, deteriorate a little bit year in, year out.
Okay, that's a great fun question. Well, I think what James Harden would do then is to dribble by and get some more space in his mid-range game when he drives, a little pull-up, or you know what, even better, he'll just drive and get fouls. I think that's what James Harden would do. So yeah, I think he would still be effective. He's still probably the most frightening isolation player in the NBA.
I thought it was a fun thing to think about because Harden really revolutionized the step back, and we already see guys like Luka came into the league and he's able to do it. I've been taking a look at some of these upcoming draft prospects, and there's a few of them who have some of that step back in their game. So
yeah, it's so many. I think definitely defenders are going to start to come up and be better at it because it's become such a go-to staple move for so many guys. Like Harden does it, Tatum does it.
The little dumbass move that LeBron does, the little
even LeBron has a little step back.
His little hezzy little step back. His I don't know if I'm going to shoot it and then shoots it. That shit is weak, but I don't know how it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't think it would affect James Harden that much because I just think he has just such a large variety of offensive skills that
he's got a bag.
Yeah, he'll be able to work around it, but I think it definitely could pose problems for some other guys that maybe used it a little bit more as a crutch. Like James Harden uses it all the time, but it's like he doesn't. If he wants to go score 28 without doing a single step back, he could probably just go do that. So I think he'll be
okay. So I think on that note, we're going to switch gears and head on over to some NFL discussions. In light of the recent Sunday night showdown between the Seahawks and the Cardinals, where the Cardinals came out victorious by a field goal in overtime, we wanted to have a quick discussion about our top 5 quarterbacks in the league because we might have just seen 2 top 5 QBs battle it out in the recent Sunday. Or wait, was it Monday night? No, it was Sunday night, right? Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah. Sunday night. It was Sunday night. Yeah,
it was a primetime game.
Yeah. So we came up with our own top 5 QBs in the current NFL. I don't know. Do we want to go one by one, or do we just want to go list our 5 and then we discuss?
Why don't you rip it and then let's give some advice, our takes on it, because that was a wild duel. It made me sad because I had to face Tyler Lockett, who single-handedly decimated my team for no reason. He did not have to go that hard. So, and my team still had a solid outing. So,
Yeah,
um,
Tyler Lockett really beasted and feasted.
Yeah, he
Uh,
did, and it was annoying, dude. Like, you can chill. Like, nobody else this season has had the performance like Tyler Lockett. That's just
that's
facts.
fair.
oh, that was the best single skill
50, I
position
don't remember a receiver getting 15
performance stat
receptions,
wise.
200, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, 203.
That's the single-handed reason why I've lost, and I'm 2-5 this year.
I mean, it was clearly they loved that matchup with Tyler Lockett and Drake Kirkpatrick. Clearly, they did not think Kirkpatrick could touch him,
And clearly, the Steelers
clearly couldn't. And then they threw Pat Pete on him a couple times, and Tyler Lockett still burnt him like once or twice. But
Well, Patrick's kind of
clearly, the freaking Steelers don't love Chase Claypool anymore, and they just want to give Deontay Johnson the ball, even though Claypool's an absurd receiver. I didn't watch the game, but hopefully the excuse is that he was getting double teamed. I'm just gonna say that. Shout out the fantasy team.
well, he also got the better corner than Deontay Johnson, so the Steelers might have just liked to go at that matchup. But as far as Kyler, I've decided I'm gonna put him just in my top 5 for quarterbacks. He's clearly, I mean, he's clearly going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league for a long time coming. Just the things he can do, how insane he is at knowing when, like, just taking off and running and being able to just turn up field and make plays for his team. His connection with D-Hop, if they can keep that duo together, D-Hop and Kyler, then that's definitely going to be something special for years and years. But yeah, he can just make so many plays. Like, I don't think he's on that level of Russell Wilson yet, or Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes, but I mean, he's got to be in the tier below or knocking on the door of it at least.
Yeah, I just to throw some names up there. So my top 5 was Mahomes, Wilson, Rodgers easily, and I opted for Watson and Stafford. And I don't think Kyler's in that discussion yet, but I do think he's knocking on the door. I opted to go for some more experienced players in the league because it is Kyler's second year in the league. So that was my personal takes on that. I did not have him in there, but I know Ben did. Aidan, I'm pretty sure you had him in there too.
He was barely in there.
He's in my top 5. I can assure you that. And he's not 5. So
He's
how
not.
about that?
I mean,
here's what we're rocking with for my top 5, right? We got Patty, we got Patrick Mahomes, we got Aaron Rodgers, who I think is the most underrated quarterback and the most, like, I think people forgot how good this guy is. I mean, when you watch him throw seeds after seeds, like, this guy has probably the best touch out of anybody in the NFL. Russell Wilson still does his job. And I think it's Kyler Murray at this point. I mean, he's been so successful. His diversity, the dynamic he brings with just being able to move outside the pocket, shifty, and he's got a quick release, beautiful throwing motion. And then lastly, I got Deshaun Watson. I think he's talented, just shitty team.
Yeah, I mean, I had him. I think he's like hovering at that top 5. You could put a couple guys right now there. I mean, we're mid-season, but I think the way people have been playing this season, I think Josh Allen definitely you could put there. I think Tannehill has been right there with them playing amazing.
No doubt about.
One thing, yeah, people need to put a little bit of respect on Tannehill's name. I think he's been absolutely, like, just perfect for that team.
Wait, is that Josh Allen sliding or what? Sliding down? Like, we put him trending downwards or what? Because I mean, I
mean, right now he's trending downwards. He's had 2 pretty awful weeks in a row.
Yeah, he
actually it's three.
I honestly, I don't expect them to have a great week against the Patriots either.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
You gotta also keep in mind, like, he's also on a team that, I mean, their run game is abysmal. That Bills,
terrible.
It's just terrible. But I mean, one thing I will say about Kyler and the Cardinals is, why do they never go under center ever? Like, you see, we watch like Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield, and they're getting these like free plays because their team goes under center and they do some runs and they rip off a play action boot, and it, like, if Jared Goff's able to have tons of success doing that, that's what he's best at. Imagine what you could do if you get Kyler Murray under center and you start booting him out. Like, I just think he could be more dangerous So I don't understand why they haven't dabbled in that more, because it just seemed they just under shotgun the whole time. And that is my pet peeve about the Cardinals offense. But I mean, Kyler himself has he's been awesome. He's done great. He hasn't, I mean, the only like game he's been bad was the Lions game. And other than that, I think he's been pretty awesome in almost every game.
Yeah, I agree with the whole under center thing. I think I can't claim that I know too much about NFL designs and structures, but I think that's just I think that's just due to the fact that it's a Kingsbury offense, and he was a big college guy, so he probably has his roots set in that college sort of offense where it's just a lot of shotgun spread, and that's what I'd put it to. I could be wrong, but
no, that's probably definitely it. But I think if he wants to have continued success, he's got to start adding more variety.
Adding some play action will definitely be, especially with a runner like Kyler, if you can get him loose, and even if you can just draw one more defender off of him with the play action, that's just the more the merrier.
It just feels like as somebody watching the game, it feels like they're just doing one thing the whole time. Like,
hey man, if it ain't broke, they'll fix it. He knows more than me. Cliff. The only person I feel like I have the right to criticize as a coach is that guy in New York. So
that man who should have lost his job about 3 years ago, I think the count said.
Yeah, I don't know. That guy.
He should never even got the opportunity with the Jets, but that's.
He's ruining Sam Darnold's bright career, and now it's looking a lot of other than what it should have been.
Could I just add a little topic here just about football? I just wanted to know, what are your guys like top team, like what teams do you think are actually contenders in the NFL right now? Like and win the Super Bowl. Let's just say, what do you think the top 3 teams in each conference are?
All right, let me pull up the standings real quick just so I don't forget anyone.
I gotta roll with the Chiefs in the AFC for sure. Another top team in the NFC. Probably the Seahawks. If I had to go off the top of my head, Seahawks, Rams are even up there. I think they're a solid team still.
Undoubtedly for the NFC, I think the best team is the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers, yeah, I was about to say Buccaneers.
I definitely think for me they're definitely
especially with the addition of AB, their offense looks scary.
Yeah. Their offense looks scary. Their defense is absolutely monstrous. Their D-line, they got.
I would say those are the top 3.
Solid O-line. They don't have a weakness. They really don't.
Would you say that's the top 3 right now? Rams, Bucks, and Seahawks?
Well, are we gonna go conference by conference?
No, I would. We're doing. I'm doing the top 3 in each conference. Is what I was thinking about. But in the NFC, I would say that it's the I'd
go Seahawks, Packers.
You would go. You guys really think the Seahawks are number 1?
I don't know if their defense.
I don't know. I didn't mean that in order.
Sleep on Russ, Tyler Lockett, DK. I still think they got a squad. Pete Carroll's an amazing coach, probably one of the best coaches ever in football history.
I think in order it's Bucks, Packers, Seahawks, but I just listed my 3. But
the AFC, I mean, I'm saying
AFC. I think it's pretty cut and clear. I think it's Chiefs, Steelers, and Titans. I really don't see anyone else even coming
Ravens?
close to them.
I guess the Ravens.
I don't trust the Ravens.
Their offense has been so, which is
shocking. I'm gonna put the Ravens in there, and then I think the Steelers are the 3rd best team as well.
What?
Chiefs.
I'm just saying until I see it, the Ravens
will
not be reaching my top 3
right there.
Who did you say?
I put actually maybe I'd put the Titans ahead of the Ravens. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's.
I'm putting Titans over Ravens easy.
Yeah.
I love the Titans as a team. I'm not ready to put them in. I mean, the Ravens, it's like we feel like they're
playoff football
on all cylinders, and they're still stomping some teams. I just think that they've got an insane personnel. Didn't they just trade for somebody too?
The Ravens, they added Dez.
Oh, Yannick Ngakoue.
Oh wait, never mind. Was it
Yannick? Didn't they add Yannick?
Ngakoue, that was at the beginning of the year. I don't know. I might be wrong, but
Or did they trade Yannick?
No, they traded for him, but at the beginning of the year. But I think Ravens are definitely in my top 3. I think Ravens, Chiefs are my top 2, and then Steelers defense with the weapons they have on offense, I'm going to have to put at 3. I love the Titans. They're right there. But I don't know about you guys, but I definitely think the AFC this year is definitely the better conference.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ben, can we talk about something real quick? How hot were you Monday after that bet?
The reason I wasn't that hot is because won quite a bit on the Seahawks being within 4 points and a couple other games. So I wasn't too upset, but it was still sad that if the Bears would have won, I would have won a lot of money.
How much you put up? Or are you going to disclose? You wouldn't disclose.
It was only a $5 bet because but it was to win $450 in a parlay. And they were the last team that I needed to win $450. But yeah, I really believe that the Bears had a chance just because their defense and if they were gonna win, it was gonna be a low scoring game. So it was looking really good at the beginning because it was like 7-3. And then Nick Foles threw that interception in the end zone. And then from then on, it was like haywire.
All right, so shifting to the other sport.
We're gonna shift MLB.
Yeah, I was about to say MLB. Quickly. Shout out to the Dodgers winning the World Series. As you two are Sox fans, what do you think about Mookie winning a chip? How do you feel about that?
I'm happy for Mookie. Good for Mookie. It is so crushing to hear that quote he came out with after where he said, like,
what did he say? I didn't even hear it.
He said, I thought I was going to be a Red Sox for life. And that's
emphasis on the sock because he's singular.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it just hurts because the Red Sox let.
That's great though. You gotta love that. Oh, that's great for the Red Sox. I love it.
Definitely, arguably, I would say this year the best player in baseball. Probably the face.
It's also tough to tell because it was.
And we just let him go at 26 years old when we could have signed him and had him for a decade.
Hey, you got Alex Verdugo though.
A really just probably. That
might be one of the worst trades I've ever
seen.
There's
been a lot of good in my sports world in my lifetime at being a New England fan that's pretty young, but this is definitely like the worst loss of like a player or like not getting like a free agent signing or something like that. This is definitely the one that I think will hurt forever. Honestly.
Yeah, that's ass. But what I really want to talk about, how about maybe one of the worst managerial moves I've ever seen in a baseball game, pulling Blake Snell with 2 hits right in the 6th inning. Like
he had a one-hitter going, he let up a base hit, and then they don't even go talk to him to see, like, they just immediately, before he even has a chance to plead it, Blake Snell has a chance to plead his case, immediately points, goes to the bullpen. Blake Snell had a reaction to it, did not seem happy for good reason. He had a 2-hitter going. He had dealt on the Dodgers the last time. I think he went in full 6 innings or 7 innings against the Dodgers last time he started in the series. And he was dealing in that series and had a 1-hitter going for a long time as well. But I just don't get it because they want to bring in – so Blake Snell's a lefty. Mookie Betts much worse at hitting lefties, which is a little surprising because he's a righty, but a lot worse statistically at hitting lefties. But he brings in a righty who hadn't been very good in the entire postseason. And it just made no sense to me. People have been defending the Rays manager, Kevin Cash, right?
Yeah.
But they've been defending him, saying he's just doing it based off analytics. I haven't seen any analytics to support that move. I've only seen analytics that actually point to the opposite direction of keeping Blake Snell in. I mean, it was the 3rd time Mookie was facing him, and he has Mookie has a worse success against pitchers the 3rd time around. Blake Snell has better success against hitters the 3rd time around than he does the 2nd time around. So And that was the same case for the postseason, his stats in the postseason. So it really made no sense to me at all. I think he deserves a lot of scrutiny for it, and I think that single move might have lost them the World Series, or at least that game.
Yeah, I can say for sure my timeline was really going off on Twitter. Everyone was just screaming analytics and how they suck in baseball, and a lot of hate towards Cash for this decision. And yeah, I also, one other thing that I saw a lot of people talk about was the fact that Snell is a free agent upcoming, and I think that might have just sold his choice on deciding to not come back to Tampa Bay. So that should be fun to watch.
Dude, I don't know. That was just, what are you doing? That was just like, what are we doing? Like, if I'm a Rays fan, if I'm a Rays fan, I'd be so pissed at Kevin Cash. Like, I don't really know how you defend that. I guess the analytics, but still, like, the guy has a 2-hitter going. I'm a big believer in, like, the analytics in baseball and Moneyball, but, like, there's a point where you don't go over the line and you just sometimes let your players play. It's a player's game at the end of the day, and that's when you let them play.
Yeah, there's a point where you just gotta, like, have a feel for the situation and the game and what's going on, and because I mean, I know as somebody who used to play baseball, I know that the second Blake Snell got taken out, I'm sure the Dodgers players were like, oh, confidence. Like, I'm sure they got tons of confidence the second Blake Snell got pulled. And clearly, we don't know if Blake Snell would have let up a blow up inning or something, but clearly taking him out and putting in somebody else to deal with the mess was not the move. I don't understand it. Really disappointing. If Blake Snell, if he wants to get that bag, maybe go interdivision, come join the Red Sox. Get back on track.
We could always use more lefties on the rotation.
Anyways, I know this is a big topic that Ben wants to talk about, or probably has the most knowledge about. I'm more of a boxing guy. I don't really know a lot about the MMA, but Khabib retiring after that fight, what is he, 29-0? Is he the best UFC fighter ever? Like, I don't know. Because I like, the only UFC fighter I really know about is John Jones, and I think he's a legend. But
I mean, John Jones, he's got, there's a lot to
was that his name, Israel?
Israel Adesanya. I think Israel Adesanya
dropped by John Jones if they fight.
I disagree. I think Adesanya.
Okay, then let's see the fight. John Jones isn't afraid. Why is Israel?
Let's call him up. Let's call him up right now.
Yeah. Why is John Jones the one saying, "Oh, why are you afraid to fight?"
I mean, I don't know. It's weird because John Jones and Adesanya, they're both like, "Oh, you're afraid to fight. You're afraid to fight." Blah blah blah. I mean, there's really no chance that they fight right now because John Jones went up another division, weight class, and there's just no way Adesanya could fight at that heavyweight. So that just couldn't happen. But as far as Khabib, there's really only a couple fighters, UFC fighters in contention for the GOAT. John Jones is the one who I think is commonly referred to. He's a really not a very liked fighter, I feel like, by a lot of UFC fans. So I feel like a lot of people look for other options, but I'd actually go as far and say that Khabib is the greatest fighter ever because in UFC, because every fight he's ever had, or just about everyone, I mean, a lot of them, they haven't even been very competitive. It's just him throwing a guy around and getting tons of takedowns. I mean, in a 3-round fight before, he got 21 takedowns on a guy. It's basically him just in the ring throwing him around, like doing whatever he wants. And I mean, he even made Conor McGregor the biggest UFC star ever, a guy who eclipsed the sport in fame and popularity. I mean, just is such a great fighter, and he made him look like he just wasn't in the class.
Yeah, the Notorious MMA would love to argue with you on that.
Well, I mean that he's clearly a better fighter than McGregor. Well, McGregor clearly isn't as good of a fighter as Khabib. I think definitely the other two in contention are John Jones and George St. Pierre. But I would give it to Khabib. I think he's just been so dominant. A lot of people maybe wouldn't because of him on the feet. I thought he looked just as good as Gaethje on the feet. And every time we've seen him on the feet, he's had success. I mean, he dropped McGregor down with a punch last time when he was on his feet. And also, something to just tell you how good he is. And Dana White came out and said after the fight, after he retired, which I was shocked by, but good for him if that's what he wants to do. And he wants to stop fighting and now that he doesn't have his dad, who was also his trainer. But just something to show how good he is Dana White said that he had broken his foot a couple weeks before the fight, but didn't tell anybody so that he could keep fighting. And also, I don't know if you guys were watching or how close you were paying attention, but if you saw, he had him in the arm bar. Khabib did. But this is what Cormier had said. Daniel Cormier, who's his really, really good friend of Khabib's, said that
John Jones is better than DC.
Who is? John Jones?
John Jones.
Well, yeah, he's better than DC, yeah. But he had him in the arm bar, but Cormier said that Khabib in his head remembered that Justin Gaethje had been saying he's not going to tap. He just won't tap, even if he gets put in a submission. And Khabib, apparently, Cormier's claiming that Khabib knew that Gaethje's parents were there watching, and he didn't want to break Gaethje's arm in front of his parents. So instead he switched, got his arm, got his leg around his neck, put him in the choke, the triangle, and Gaethje just passed out. So I just thought to be that good in a fight where you're fighting till somebody is unconscious or can't go or whatever, and just be like, okay, I could beat him like this, but I don't want to break his arm, so I'm going to switch and just beat him like this instead. I think that's just something to show how amazing of a fighter he is.
Again, I don't know much about MMA, but all I know in recent boxing news, I used to say Vasily Lomachenko is the best boxer pound for pound ever, and kind of just got his ass whooped by Teofimo Lopez, who's going to be the next boxing star. But
yeah, I can't speak about any boxing.
Yeah, those names are all foreign to me.
Boxing fans know how important that is.
I'm sure it's a huge deal, but I just don't know.
All right, so what are we going to wrap it up with? Movie of the week?
We'll wrap it up with a quick little movie discussion. You guys watch any good movies recently?
Dude, I mean, I saw Seven Deadly Sins. That shit was nuts.
I haven't seen
it. A fire movie.
I don't know why I'd never seen it, but I was just like, oh, it's on HBO Max. Like, let me rip this real quick. Dude.
Well,
it was nuts.
Me and Noah saw Tenet over the weekend.
No, don't even tell me how it went. I want to see it.
It's a migraine.
Yeah, it's definitely a migraine.
Is it okay? Can you at least tell me, is it overhyped?
No, I think
a little overhyped. For sure.
Okay,
I mean, it's got so much hype.
I mean, like, if you're into Christopher Nolan movies,
like, you're like, it's not like Inception, it's not Interstellar, it's not Memento, it's not Prestige.
I think if I were to rank it, I think I definitely have like Inception at the top. Then I personally have Prestige below that. I'd probably put Tenet around the Prestige level, but I know you're not a big fan of Prestige, but I think it's one of Nolan's better films.
Memento and like other movies that he's produced, like Interstellar.
I liked it a lot better than Memento.
Or Dark Knight. Love the Dark Knight.
Yeah, Dark Knight's also top tier with Inception. I wouldn't put it higher than Dark Knight.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was like so hyped up that it was bound to fail, but like not exceed the hype. But
it was pleasant.
At the same time, good movie. You make sure you're paying attention. Make sure.
I definitely recommend to be able to enjoy it fully. You're gonna have to look up explanation videos after, but
yeah,
it definitely is worth the watch.
Is it kind of like something like Borat 2, where it's there's a lot of hype, so you felt like it was gonna fail, but like it was still ended up being pretty satisfactory?
Oh, it was definitely like a cool movie. I definitely recommend it.
Okay. But Seven Deadly Sins, dude, Kevin Spacey's an amazing actor. Like Usual Suspects, he was
amazing actor. Don't condone anything else.
I just hate about his off the camera stuff. Like I hate that he has to have those shared stuff. But like, dude, he's an amazing actor.
I mean, man,
Really sold being a psychopath, mentally ill freak.
Yeah, he was so good in Call of Duty Ghost.
Dude, his most memorable piece. Come on now.
I watched Godzilla yesterday. I know it's not like a hype, but
Wait, which
it's a fun
Godzilla?
watch.
Which Godzilla?
Fuck, who's the actor? The one with I don't even know. It's not like the older ones. It's the one where that has the Japanese doctor who says Godzilla really funny. That's kind of the only reason I watched it, to be
Godzilla.
honest.
You can't tell me you watched another movie that
Godzilla.
was.
No, I actually watched a pretty good movie. It's I don't know if you've heard of The Illusionist. It came out in like 2006, but it's Edward Norton plays like
I heard it's good.
Edward Norton plays. He's not like a magician. He's an illusionist, is what he calls himself. But it's pretty much like a magician. And I don't want to spoil it, but there's a big plot surrounding a death. And
Okay, I'll check it out.
yeah, I'll leave it.
Real quick though, before we wrap it up, kind of something I just saw pop up on Twitter. NBA 2K announces the first ever WNBA My Player mode. Interesting. Kind of like.
I think they also added like a My League mode for WNBA as well.
That's great.
I think we love it
to grow the audience of the WNBA. I think I like it.
WNBA on the rise.
Yeah, man, it's on the rise.
It really is on the rise. I feel like.
Oh, it truly is.
I see stuff about it way more than I used to.
And
I definitely don't pay attention, but
Ben and Noah, some NFL news for you guys. Didn't know that this happened. This must have just happened now. Michael Thomas returned to practice today.
breaking news.
We love that.
Love that for the fantasy squad.
No CMC tonight.
No, we don't.
Who you boys got? Let's do a little prediction. Who you boys got? Falcons, Panthers.
I'm gonna roll Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers.
Matt Rule's an amazing coach. Did a very successful job at Temple and Baylor. Shout out my college football fans.
I'm rolling. I want Falcons to win, but I think Panthers are gonna win.
I'm just watching. If I do end up watching, it'll be just to see how the Falcons lose this week.
Yeah, I was thinking about. They got a DraftKings betting boost on Falcons leading in the fourth quarter and losing.
I'd be primed to take
that. All right, is that it for today then?
That's it.
Yeah. Unless anyone else has any more news that they want to jump in real quick. Okay, and that will be it for the second episode. Thank you all for watching. And this is Noah signing off.
Yo, Aidan, peace out. Do your homework.
In his podcast, let's go.
Do your homework.
Yeah, stay in school. stay in school. All that good stuff.
Or just drop out and do a podcast.
Yeah.